Hello, people. What's up? What's up? What's up? You know who this is? My name is Kingsley of IKCYK, the richest. Yeah, you know what it is. Okay. So I know you're wondering where is my wonderful, beautiful co-host, my creamy pepe. You know, she's trying to put a lot of things. It's a new year. Everybody's planning. We are trying to make sure things work out. And that's why she had to excuse herself today. But trust me, this is a free talk podcast. You know where you are. Let me remind you. If you forgot, this is a free talk podcast bringing you information that has to do with relationship, marriages, that is going to help you. And today is a very balamocious, vivacious day because we have a very special person in the house. I respect her a lot because by the time we get into this podcast, you understand why I respect her. And I know she's somebody that you would want to listen to. She is, let me go through her, because this kind of people, you don't just introduce them anyhow. You have to make sure you get it very well. So our guest today is a dedicated psychiatric mental health care provider. She's deeply passionate about creating mental health awareness with a special focus on the African community. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you can stand up when you are watching us, stand up. Join us to welcome the one and only Dr. Maria Eze, Doctor of Nursing Practice, DMP. You people don't clap now.
Thank you so much, CY, for that amazing introduction. I don't think I've ever been introduced anywhere like that, so I appreciate it.
Don't worry. Next time, I'm going to bring a PowerPoint screen, Thank you for coming here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, to share this knowledge, because we need people like you in our community. I like the fact that you're focused on the African community because there's nothing wrong with us. It's just that we have a lot to learn and catch up with. And welcome to the Free Talk podcast. We talk freely here, to give people the right information. Okay, so first of all, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm glad that it's not snowing. So.
Yeah, I imagine how your area, because I've been to your house. You guys, that your driveway.
Yeah, it was crazy. We had to get people to kind of...
Oh, really? Our guy was like...
to shovel the snow.
At this point in time, I'm not going to be the man here. So.
Yeah, so... But,
one of my friends said he had to pay how much? I think he paid like $300.
Oh, wow. No, we got a very good deal. We paid about $150, so I can't complain.
He said he had, because the thing was a lot. He traveled and came back and saw the whole thing. I was like, no, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
So he had to pay some guys to do it.
To shovel.
Anyway, thank God it's not snowing today. I heard it was going to snow, but we just had some sprinkle here and there. Okay, we're talking about mental health today, and you are the right person, which I know. There is no other person that I know, this is my own opinion, that can discuss this properly and give the right information. So we want to talk about marriage. Is marriage making people depressed, or we have depressed people going into marriages? Which of them? Why? Because we have a lot of things that happen in marriages, and clearly sometimes when you look at it, you're like, this is a case of some mental issue here. So which is it? Is it that we have depressed people going into marriages, or marriage is making people depressed?
So that topic is
it's
really,
a broad one.
It's very loaded. It's very complicated. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also a very timely topic. Mm. So let me start from the bottom side of the topic, which is marriage making people depressed? Mm-hmm. Marriage is not making people depressed because... and I'm going to refer to my faith because, of course, I'm a Christian. Yeah. Anything God created is good, and God created marriage. Right. So I don't believe that marriage makes people depressed. However, I do believe that people that have mental health issues, say, for example, depression, because we're focusing on depression now, right?
Yes.
So think about a single person that has struggled with depression and was never addressed. They didn't address that depression. They didn't seek counseling or therapy or even a full psychiatric evaluation to see if they needed to be on medications. And you carry all of that trauma, all of that burden, all of that mental health issue into a marriage. It can impact your marriage. So marriage in and of itself doesn't cause depression, but marriage can amplify depression. So if you're already depressed, and you go into marriage, because all of marriage is challenging for people that have been married. Even if you're married to the best person since sliced bread.
Can say that again,
right? So I mean, think about a single person that is struggling with depression or has gone through some kind of trauma that was never addressed.
Right.
You go into marriage. Marriage forces you to remove the me statement because it's not all about you anymore. So if you haven't dealt with your issues before going into marriage can amplify those issues and make things
so
worse.
It's a trigger.
It could trigger issues, yeah. So, for example, like somebody that was sexually molested or sexually abused as a child or a teenager or an adult, never addressed that, never sought counseling, and don't know that they now perceive sex in a different light. You can imagine carrying that trauma into your marriage, and that person's husband or wife, because sexual abuse can happen both ways, is trying to touch that person, trying to be intimate, and they're just like, you know what I mean? They're not able to
and then
relax.
The other person doesn't understand
why. So it causes that friction and that conflict between a couple. So marriage in and of itself is an amazing sacred union, but there are issues and traumas that people carry into them that can make it really, really
because sometimes you just hear you watch on the news and you see the person just snapped and killed the wife or killed the husband or maybe beat up and you're like, from where to where? And then you hear people say, and he was a very quiet person. So in that situation, what happened? Because you hear things like the person was a very quiet person, was a very nice person, and then this happened.
Yeah. So, good question. You know how we talked about, depression precedes marriage or people struggling or having issues before entering marriage is not really the marriage that caused it. There are also issues that are caused by marriage. So, for example, infidelity, right? Say you were happy in your marriage, the first year, second year, third year of marriage, and everything was fine. You had no history of depression. You had no mental health issues. You were just fine and stable. And then things of the world, like maybe your partner cheated on you or you're married, but you're like a single parent in your marriage. You're carrying all the strain of raising the children, being the financially stable one, things like that. It can put a strain on your mental health. So in terms of people snapping, I think the reason why people snap like that is because they never addressed issues that were building up. So when it gets to, when they say mountain, it's like a small thing now set them off because they never addressed issues as they happened. One of the bedrocks of marriage is communication, effective communication. So if you're not able to communicate effectively with your partner, say something happens and you just like sweep it under the rug and you're dealing with it internally, and something continues to happen, another thing happens, and another thing happens, and then you just like explode. And you're like, why are you screaming? Is it because I didn't put my clothes in the laundry?
Right.
But it's not that I didn't put my clothes in the laundry that is the issue. It's the other things that have been building and brewing underneath the surface that now unleash that reaction. So that person now is demonstrating an exaggerated reaction for a trivial issue. But that's not what caused it.
Yeah, that's not the root of it.
That's not the root cause of it. So when people snap, it's like an out-of-body experience. It's because of things that have been happening that they never really addressed.
Yeah, and then they regret. You're like, I didn't know. So there's something I wanted us to talk about before I got here, because I just didn't want to forget that question. It's about, when we talk about marriage, the church, most especially with our own people, do you think that we need to inculcate mental health like
it's part of marriage counseling?
That's
like
the question.
Like pre-counseling before they get married?
Yes.
I think is instrumental, honestly.
Because when you talked about, when we talked about how marriage, affects people's mental health and how people carry this trauma into marriages, I just thought about it. So, do you think it should be also inculcated into our premarital counseling?
I think it should be, because you don't know what you don't know. And if you look at a community, the African community like ours, that we don't talk about mental health, and mental health is still very hush-hush. There's still so much stigma. Think about, say, like that example I gave initially about somebody that was sexually molested.
Yes.
And they don't even know that they're carrying that trauma around. Imagine in a premarital counseling, that type of topic is brought about, and they're telling that person.
But the pastor, maybe he doesn't know how to ask those kind of questions, or whoever.
So they need to have like a professional.
That's what I'm saying.
Because the problem is that a lot of the pastors are doing their job as pastors, but not all of them are certified marriage counselors. So you have to be a subject matter expert to be able to provide marital counseling to people.
Yeah, because imagine, okay, let's say they are at the marriage counseling table, and the lady says something like, "Oh, I was molested when I was young." Most pastors will say, "Don't worry, God will heal you. Let's pray about it." Honestly, that is the normal question. Answer.
Yeah, that assuming they're not shamed by. For it.
Exactly.
So
most times they are ashamed.
Yeah.
Or they just say, don't worry, you have to be strong. God will see you through. And this person probably is not enough.
Yeah. So that's why I think pastors should be able to direct people to like therapists.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, especially if that type of topic is raised during premarital counseling.
Yes.
The pastor should be able to say, I need to refer you people to see A, B, and C. You know what I mean? Because they need to make sure that they're properly healed from that. They need to make sure that they address the issue, so that way it doesn't impact their marriage.
Yes.
Because these things have a way of rearing their ugly heads, honestly. Things that we kind of suppress and we don't deal with, and we're like, okay, we've moved on, it didn't happen, we have amnesia about it.
Yeah.
It actually shows up in different areas of our lives, whether it be work relationships, when we have children, things
Exactly.
like that. So the pastors, I think, I really agree with you. I actually never thought about it. I think that was genius, actually. I think it should be incorporated.
I'm genius. Doctor said I'm genius. Oh, I go crazy.
I think it should be incorporated in premarital counseling, to be honest.
Because, Dr. Maria, something happened to like an auntie of mine. This was years ago. Met this guy, great guy, because this man, when you see somebody is a Christian, there are some people you're like, this one is going to make heaven.
Holy Spirit's first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But one very wonderful human being. So she met this guy, and she was in her 40s. Met this guy, wonderful guy, great job, and treated her well. And I think for some reason she kept having this, okay, I need to, there's something I'm not finding out, or I need to know. They already started planning the marriage, so they were going for counseling. So for some reason, she just decided to start digging. She started digging, and she found out that the guy actually had was it a homicide, some case about that he killed someone, a woman somewhere in a state, and then moved to this state, and because the guy has money, so he probably covered. So she found out, and she confronted him and was like, "Look, is this true?" And that was where the guy actually...
His true colors.
The guy was like, why would you... In fact, almost beating her.
Wow.
And they were already going for counseling. And she said at the counseling, the guy will answer. In fact, the pastor was like, this is Holy Spirit. This guy is Holy Spirit. So, do you think that when if they can inculcate like mental health programs into these kind of things will be discovered.
Yeah. I mean, in the case of this guy, I don't think this his homicidal case will be discovered. I don't think so.
Like maybe find out like this guy, there's something off.
It's hard if he sounds very scripted, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like he provided the right answers.
Yeah.
So even if we did a psych eval and he's telling me Jesus is Lord, everything is perfect. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's hard for me
right,
to
right.
be able to. I mean, I may read that he's almost too perfect with his answers, but I may not be able to catch any red flags in that one assessment. Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
So there are some situations where
I get
if
that.
somebody is like telling you, "Oh, I'm not depressed. I'm great. I'm stable. I'm like this. Like I have no issues." You know, you're like, "Okay, fine," until they start to manifest it, right? So in your auntie's case, I'm glad that she did and that's the thing. Something that I want to say to our viewers today. There's something that God has given every woman, and that is intuition.
I agree.
Intuition. We see all the red flags. Let's not say we don't see the red flags.
Yes.
We see the red flags, but we choose to ignore them.
Why? Let me ask you.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
why?
Don't tell me you don't know, because
I have no idea.
why will you see?
So there's I mean, it's really multifactorial. There's so many reasons why.
Because this also is a mental thing, no? Because
Yes, it
if
is.
you see danger and you're still going in.
So some people have very low self-esteem that if somebody's paying them attention or giving them some kind of love that they've never really received from anybody, it's almost like a tall I wish type situation. Let me hold on to the word that at least is still paying me attention, even though they can see the red flags and everything. They choose to ignore that, you know. So I think it has to do with your self-esteem. I think it has to do with like negative self-talk. If you feel like you don't deserve better, if you don't place a value on your life or yourself,
right,
you're going to be devalued. And anybody or anything that shows you any type of love
or
interest, you're just going to go with it. And some people they're struggling with loneliness and they don't want to be alone. So they're like, I'd rather be with this person than to be alone. You know, so we see these red flags. And then there's also societal pressure. Oh, I'm already in my 30s. I'm already in my 40s.
Right.
You know, society expects me to be married and have children by now. So we ignore those red flags. But the red flags are always there. If you look back, if you ask anybody that went through any kind of traumatic marriage or breakup or whatever, they'll tell you in hindsight, I saw the signs. Nobody will say it's hard. Maybe a small percentage will be like, I was blindsided.
Right.
For the most part, people see it. They just choose not to pay attention to it. So in this case, your auntie knew that this is almost too picture perfect.
Yeah.
Something is off. And she followed her intuition.
She did. And thank God although she's still not married.
Oh, she's still not married, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
But she probably may be dead if she went ahead and married him.
Because when he confronted this guy, it was like a 360.
Yeah.
It's like a monster came out. And she was like, what is happening here? She had to play along with him just to get out of the situation.
To de-escalate it, yeah.
Yes. So, and then immediately she reached out to the pastor. And in fact, the pastor was still trying to make it work.
Let's not see why we're gonna get in trouble. Let's not get into that.
Yes.
Because that's a whole kind of worms that we're about to unpack.
Yep.
How people actually lose their lives in marriage because they believe that we must die there, that this is what God wants. Like divorce is a sin, but God also wants you to be alive and be healthy, and be happy and be sane.
Because he was like, let's talk to him. Because the guy was like, oh, this is in my past. The lady is like, no, and you didn't. So the pastor is like, oh, let's talk. And she's like, no, I'm telling you. So I think this is why, imagine if we had a counselor there. Probably a counselor would be like, no, let's hold on. Let's talk to this person.
This situation, yeah.
Anyway, I have there's this question I've been meaning to ask anybody that will give me the right answer, which I believe is you.
Oh, Lord. No pressure.
So, how can we untreat mental health challenges, impact communication, and trust within a marriage or relationship? So what I mean is, how can we help communication, and how does mental health affect communication in marriages?
So how does mental health affect communication? I think in so many ways, to be honest. So like if somebody is anxious, right? One of the symptoms of anxiety is irritability. So think about when you're irritable, you're snappy, you experience what we call low frustration tolerance.
Say that again.
You experience what we call low frustration tolerance.
Low frustration tolerance.
Yeah, your tolerance level
is
very low. So you're easy. Think about trying to communicate with that person, right? So if somebody has anxiety and there's something that they're worried about, and their partner is trying to be, hey, how are you? How was your day? Like, I'm not in the mood. They're snapping. They're irritable. They're not able to communicate as they should.
I feel so, I feel like that sometimes. So.
You do?
Yes.
To be honest with you, anxiety is one of the most common disorders. A lot of people do have anxiety. Some people don't even know that they have anxiety, but they do have anxiety. So it can impact. And if you think about depression, if somebody is sad, they self-isolate, meaning they just shut down. They don't want to talk. They don't want to interact. That can also impact communication. And honestly, remember I said communication is one of the bedrocks of marriage.
Yes.
If communication is broken, I don't care if you're buying the person Birkin or buying them Lamborghinis or whatever. If communication is broken, the marriage is impacted in a major way.
So part of it is anxiety.
Yeah.
Or depression.
Yeah, it could be. It doesn't necessarily have to be. Some people are just poor communicators, to be honest with you. They're not good at communicating. They're not good at expressing their emotions or expressing their feelings or being able to tell you exactly how they're feeling or what they need from their partner. Some people just don't know how to communicate.
Well, that could also impact the other person.
Absolutely. It definitely. Again, the communication part is critical. So imagine I'm trying to communicate with my husband now, and my husband is not a mind reader. I have all these things in my head that I would like for him to be doing, but I'm not able to communicate it to him or communicate it in a loving way to him where he understands it. There's no way he would know what he's doing. There's no way he would know how to meet my needs emotionally because I'm not expressing it to him the way he should understand. And just because it makes sense in my head doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to get it.
Now, that leads us to the second question. It says, in what way might anxiety and depression or stress influence emotional intimacy between partners?
I think we already touched on that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, if somebody is anxious about something, I know for me personally, if I'm anxious about something, it's hard for me to kind of quiet down, have this kind of even keel tone to be able to interact with my husband because I'm like, there's something going on. There's something bothering me. I can't focus on anything. I'm screaming at my children. If they drop a plate, if they drop a cup, if my husband even smiles at a game or something, I'm like, what's funny? Why are you smiling?
But also, in such situation, I know maybe the spouse is not a doctor or something. How can the person help in that situation?
That's a good question.
Because sometimes I feel that I mean, my wife, I know when she's stressed, but I don't know how to help.
So I will tell you what my husband started doing because it took him a while to be able to figure it out. Because I can get really anxious and get stressed easily. And for the longest time, he would just be so annoyed, like, what's wrong with this? This is not normal. But he started to not focus on his own emotions or how what I was doing was impacting him.
Okay.
He shifted it to how can I help her? So every time he sees that I'm stressed, I'm worried, I don't even need to verbalize anything to him. He just comes and gives me a hug and just be like, you're going to be fine. Or
African men, you're not here. Are you listen to this one? I know my wife will say, you have listened to it.
Or because I mean, we're going to be 19 years now in August, right? So we're married for 19 years. So he knows my body language. So he knows when I'm stressed. He even comes and says, like, what's overwhelming you now? So I don't have to even try to talk to him. He already can sense it and come and ask me, what's going on? What's overwhelming? What's stressing you? And then I'm able to now just have verbal diarrhea and tell him exactly what's bothering me.
Even if he doesn't have solution.
He doesn't need to. That's the thing. A lot of times, because guys are solution focused, right? You're not emotionally wired like that. So just because I'm going through something, I don't want you to fix it. I just need you to hear me vent.
But so for me, my thing is, I don't have the solution, so I don't want to come and meet you. And you're
That's a
expecting
problem.
me.
Don't do that. That's gonna make things worse.
Oh, wow.
Because women were very complicated, emotional beings. That would look like you're ignoring, you're not paying attention.
So what I do, I ignore.
No, you can't do that. You really cannot do
wow.
that.
Sorry.
So number one, we know you don't have the solution to fix whatever is going on with us. The second thing is that we just want you to be present, emotionally available. That's all you need to do. Babe, I see you're stressed. Let me give you a hug. Just go take a nap. I'll figure out dinner for the children, and we can talk about it later when you're open to it. That's it. That would fix a lot of things.
So all this quarrel I've been having, it would have been fixed with just...
Yes, basic stuff.
Honestly, because sometimes I'm like...
Honestly,
I don't...
babe, you look stressed. When was the last time you got a massage? Go, I booked one massage for you. It doesn't even have to be anything major. $100 for 15 minutes. She'll come back smiling. It's not that complicated. But when you ignore, because I think that's what a lot of men do, because men are not, they don't know how to get into the feelings and the weeds of things and be emotional.
Because
so
you're going to tell me all these stories, and then when you tell me, I don't know, then maybe if it's your client that is, bugging you out, or your boss, I don't know how to go and talk to your...
You don't have to. That's not what she's expecting. She just wants you to sit down and hear her vent and be like, man, that guy is so stupid.
So my own is just support her.
Yeah, that's it. That your boss, man. That your boss is so annoying. Babe, just ignore them. You know what my husband does? My husband is hilarious. Like, he knows I probably will not quit from my job, like what I do. But if I'm so stressed, he's like, just quit if you want to quit. Do you know what that does for me? That tells me that this guy supports me enough that he's not focused about whether I bring it, but he's like, just quit. He knows I'm not going to quit because I like the money. But the fact that he says it makes me feel supported emotionally.
Okay, because sometimes you say those things and maybe, for example, my wife is a makeup artist, and I know she comes home with stories every day, I'm telling you. And then you tell her, don't take the job now. And then she turns around to say, what if she says something like, are you saying I should...
So it's the tone, though. It's the tone of how you deliver it. So you don't go, well, quit the job. So when you say that, like, as soon as you said it now, the way I received it is like, well, if it's stressing you too much, then quit. Like, you're bothering me. I don't want to keep hearing you complain all the time.
Man.
That's how I received it. I'm not even your wife.
I'm learning a lot, honestly. I'm learning a lot. Okay. Man, questions I have. Ooh. So this one, your marriage is stable, but you personally feel mentally exhausted. Do you keep pushing through or take space to heal?
So that's a dichotomy, because you said your marriage is stable, but you're mentally exhausted. So that tells me it's not the marriage that is mentally exhausting you.
Okay.
Right? It's something else. Because you can't have a stable marriage and be mentally exhausted from your marriage. They're two different things. Right? So you have to figure out what the source of that mental exhaustion is coming from. Are you taking on too much? Do you have a lot on your plate? Because you can't be a 10 at everything, right? If you want to have a healthy marriage, you have to make time for that marriage. Marriage takes work. It's like a plant you have to cultivate. You have to water it. You have to, expose it to sunlight and things like that.
So that means you take a break.
Yeah, not from your marriage.
No.
You disconnect with your partner to reconnect. So maybe you guys can do something like a staycation or go somewhere. So but I think a lot of times what we don't take a step back to understand or identify is what is the source of the mental exhaustion. We just want to gloss over it or replace it with something like, oh, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm going to just do this for myself, do that. Why am I exhausted? Because if you don't identify why you're exhausted, it's going to be a vicious cycle. It's going to keep repeating itself.
So how do you, identify those things?
So, I think sometimes we know. Like, you take a cost of your life. What am I doing right now? Where is this exhaustion? Is it from church? Am I involved in a lot of activities? Am I taking on too many shifts at work? Are my kids in so many extracurricular activities that when I finish work, I'm driving one child from one soccer practice. What exactly am I doing that is
Say that to me.
Because what we do a lot of times, especially as parents or people in marriages, that we put ourselves in the back burner. And we forget the things that you hear from when you're on the airplane. What do they tell you? Put on your oxygen mask first before you assist the person next to you, even if that person is your baby, right? There's a reason why they do that. Because if you're trying to put on the oxygen mask on that child and you run out of oxygen, guess what? You die and the baby dies.
Oh.
Because you're not able to place the oxygen mask on the baby because you run out of air. So in marriage, if you're not taking the time to pour into yourself, you're going to be running on empty. And after a while, you're going to be bitter. So that mental exhaustion can be that the person is stable in their marriage, but they're not taking time to cultivate, to feed themselves, to rejuvenate themselves.
This is good.
So self-care is actually not a selfish thing. Self-love is that you love yourself, you love your family enough to take good care of yourself so you can be the best version of yourself for them.
Doctor, say that one again. That one is very, very important.
No, it is important. Self-care, self-love is not a privilege. It's a right that you have to implement in your marriage because it means that you love your family enough to take good care of yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself for your family.
Clock it. This is a clip. This one is going on this thing. That was beautiful. So another question I have is, your spouse says they are mentally overwhelmed and ask for space for several months. Do you respect their needs for distance, set limits because marriage requires presence?
Wow.
That's a lot.
So that is so deep because
yeah,
that tells me that is a very unhealthy and unstable marriage. Because honestly, I don't, thinking about my own marriage now, because I like to practicalize things, right? I can't imagine me telling my husband that I need space from you for like months because I'm mentally exhausted. When a woman tells you that, they're emotionally checked out. That's the truth. Because if you are still invested in your marriage, why do you need space for months? I can understand one day. I'm like, I can't deal with you today. I really need my space. You know what I mean? But for months, what is that? What are you trying to achieve? I just feel like there's something much more deeper going on in that marriage that would trigger that. Because it's not something that, oh my gosh, we had a fight. Okay, I need a break from you for months. No.
Okay. So you discover your partner has been hiding therapy sessions because they were ashamed. Do you support them and respect their privacy or feel hurt that they kept it from you?
I think you can have all of the emotions, but it's how you present it that is a differentiating factor. So for example, if my husband I find out that my husband is having therapy sessions, number one, I'm going to feel bad. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to feel bad that he didn't feel safe enough with me to be able to tell me that he was in therapy, right? But you don't want to dwell too much. You don't want to make it about you because
because I was about to say you're feeling bad, my trigger.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to make it about you too much, but that doesn't mean you cannot communicate it. But it's how you communicate it that is differentiating factor. The how is so important. Like, oh my gosh, you make it about, I feel so bad that you didn't feel safe enough to tell me. Do you see how that changes? That is therapeutic communication. That is therapy.
It suits me here.
So that's therapy. Not like when you use statements instead of I. You put that person in a defensive mode. You started therapy, you did not tell me. Automatically they lock up. But if you say, I feel so bad that you didn't feel safe enough to come to me, to tell me, and then the next question is, what's going on? How can I help? What is the therapy about? Is that something that you know what I mean? You make it about them. So because you want to find out why they're in therapy. Are they in therapy because they cheated on you and they're feeling guilty? Like, I want to know. So, but it's how you approach it is the differentiating factor.
This is good information. Because sometimes I know people, a lot of people kind of like hide to do therapy because they don't want their partner to know. Or maybe some of them just want to work on themselves and surprise you. You start seeing those changes. And then you find out.
Please, if your partner is doing therapy and you find out, don't shame them. Embrace it. This is because, think about it, Africans, we never seek therapy. I tell you, when I have African patients come to me, I treat them like royalty because I know the hurdles they overcame to be able to seek therapy.
Right.
So if your partner is seeking therapy and they don't tell you, it could be that they're still struggling with it. They're still very embarrassed that, I'm talking to somebody about my struggles and everything. So just don't make it about you. It's about them, and just encourage them and, try to get into it and find out what's going on. But don't.
Because some of them are, they might say, oh, why are you talking to somebody and you're not talking to me?
So I think that's just somebody that has a very archaic mindset, honestly.
Yeah.
Because,
but that's what our people do.
Yeah, but these are the things, when you have a partner and you expect your partner to be your all in all, you're going to emotionally exhaust that partner. Your partner should not be your therapist. Should not be your therapist.
But is that not what we are seeing today?
Yeah, unfortunately. You should see a professional therapist, because if your partner is your bestie, your therapist, your provider, your everything, when they're not Jesus.
One day the person will crash.
Yeah, the person will be emotionally exhausted. The problem is that we go into marriage thinking that our partners are meant to complete us. No, they're supposed to complement us, because we're all flawed human beings.
Doctor, move the mic closer and say that thing again, please. They are supposed to.
Your partner is supposed to complement you, not complete you. Nobody has the strength or the power to complete you except your Lord and personal Savior.
Right.
So if you put that burden on a flawed human being like you, that's unfair. That's a lot of responsibility to put on a human being. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So you feel emotionally drained because your spouse relies on you for all emotional support. Do you continue being their main support system, encourage them, or you encourage them to expand their support network?
So if you're I tell people, if you're emotionally drained about anything, you're not going to produce the best results. You know what I mean? So if you feel like your partner is emotionally exhausting you with everything, there's a way you can support them without making them feel like they are a leash or a leech on your skin, really. You can increase their social network for them. You can invite people over. You can say, hey, let's go out with these people. They may be introverts, but as long as you're there supporting them, little by little, you can help them expand their own network.
Yeah. So an example is a guy, let's say these guys, they are planning their wedding. And, weddings these days could be very overwhelming.
It is.
With the whole, these days, people want to change 5 times. They want to have so many activities. The different things happening, and it's taking a lot of money. Now, the guy is exhausted because sometimes, to be very honest, guys, we don't want that stress.
Yeah.
To be very honest, women are the one and they want all the razzmatazz that happens. If you ask, at least, let me not exaggerate, 70% of guys, we just want, let's just go do something that, And then the guy is saying, deep down him, he's exhausted. He knows this thing is, getting to him. How will he communicate, or how does he communicate this to the fiancé?
Well, see, why are you trying to set me up here?
No, because, see.
This is a deep one.
I'm telling you. Let me take myself, for example. I remember when I was planning my wedding 13 years ago, 14 years ago. And at some point, doctor, I think it was 2 days to the wedding. It's like I wanted to run mad because everybody was calling me.
Yeah.
Money here, money, they need this, they need. How did I even go past? I don't know how I got past it. I remember screaming at my wife, which I felt bad.
Yeah.
And it's like I was going to die.
It's a very big stressor.
So how can people? Because I know there are people planning marriages now, and I know somebody's going to say, "Yes, that's me right now." How do they get out of this?
I think there are conversations that need to be had during courting that don't actually happen. You know, like
That's it.
very important conversations.
That's it.
I think when you're courting somebody and you see that there's a potential that this person is the person for me that I would marry.
Yes.
You guys should start having conversations about not just the marriage, but the type of wedding you want to have. Because some people actually end up being broke because they're trying to get married. And because of all the societal pressures, I feel for people getting married these days with social media.
Oh, God.
Because by the time you're exposed to people's 30-second reels, and then you take that into your own life and say that's what you want to be, without knowing the background information for those people, that sets people up a lot of times. So I think having conversations, it goes back to that communication again. Like, what does your ideal wedding look like? So if from the get-go, the guy is communicating, I really just want something simple. And the girl is like, I want all the bells and whistles. They should be like, okay, so how do we get a happy medium?
Yes.
How do we make sure that, you know, the main things you want are there, the things that are not necessarily important, you know, we can crop those things off the list. But how do we make sure where I'm not getting so overwhelmed by everything, but you're still happy on your big day? Can we have a happy medium? Can we meet in the middle? Those are the conversations. But what happens is somebody gets engaged, and a lot of times the wedding preparation, it falls on the woman. And they have this idea of what they already have envisioned all their life. And then as things are now rolling in, the guy is now showing up, we can't do this one now. It's going to cause conflict because it was never discussed.
Yeah.
So I think communication and carrying your partner along the way. Don't just make decisions for yourself because you think, oh, it's my wedding, it's my big day. It's yours wedding. It's both of you's big day. So carry your partner along
That
and have
thing
conversations.
is because I talk to, you know, some guys who, you know, as an MC, you get to, and when you're talking to these people,
They're frustrated.
So let me give you this story because before I ask the next question. I emceed this wedding. This was in Rockville, and we were at the reception. We were waiting for, and I think it was a hotel. They were the hotel. The rooms were upstairs. The hall was downstairs. So we were waiting for the couple to come down, and waited. An hour passed, 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm like, so I had done crack jokes, did everything.
You ran out of jokes.
I'm like, what's happening? So I reached out to, I think it's the photographer, because he's my friend. I was like, are you with these people? He's like, something is happening up here. I'm like, huh?
Wow.
He said the guy, they were, you know, when they were just taking pictures in the room. He said the guy said, can you excuse me? And he went into the bathroom, and the next thing they started hearing things breaking. Bah, bro,
Wow.
bro. And then they went inside. They had to open the door, and he was on the floor seated. He was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this.
Wow.
I can't. They were they became counselors there.
Wow. He broke down.
He broke down. He said, no, it's too much for me. I can't do this. And they had to go call the mother. Then they packaged him, and then they came down. So there are a lot of people who go through that. That's why I was asking. And you talk to this guy, you see that the pressure, because sometimes the ladies want what they want, and they're just trying to make them happy. They just want them to be happy. But at the same time, it's hitting on them.
And I think, having those conversations early on will help to manage expectations.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So how can seeking therapy or counseling strengthen a relationship when one or both partners are struggling mentally?
So, therapy is a game changer. Therapy has helped save a lot of marriages, honestly. And I think the biggest struggle is when one partner is not willing to go.
Okay.
But if both partners are willing to go to therapy, oh my goodness, jump on it. I always tell people, even if you have a healthy marriage, have a therapist that you just go see like once in a quarter, once in 6 months. It's like you're driving a car and you don't change your oil, you don't do any kind of maintenance on the car. After a while, the car is going to break down. No matter how rosy your marriage is, it's not a bad thing to just check in sometimes to make sure you're aligned or
Right.
realigned, right? So I would recommend for people to have therapy, like marriage counseling, see a therapist, a marriage therapist. I know that I've done that in my own marriage, and my marriage is amazing. It doesn't mean that we don't have our ups and downs, but if you were to rate it amongst the marriages today, my marriage is on cloud 9.
Wow.
But I still go to therapy when, sometimes I'm like, this communication is not looking like we're communicating.
Okay, let's
go and realign ourselves immediately. You know what I mean?
So you just say...
Yes, and my husband, thank God, he's so open-minded that he's like, sure.
African men, you better be open-minded.
You have to be. Because think about it, both of you, if you love your partner and you want the betterment of your marriage, you want things to work, there's no shame in that. It doesn't mean that you guys cannot fix your problems. You just need an independent party.
Doctor, they will say their excuses. Because I can tell you what some of them, they say, it's expensive, doctor.
Oh, it's expensive. Try divorce.
Yeah.
It's just like somebody saying education is expensive. I'm like, try illiteracy. You know what I mean? Your marriage you can't invest in your marriage. Your marriage should be your biggest investment. This is somebody that you're doing life with for the rest of your life. If you, don't let me get started. If you pay $150 a month for therapy session, what does that? And your marriage is like running like Lamborghini. Won't you be happy to swipe that card?
You know, our people, if it's not the video or Burna Boy, they don't want to buy ticket. They will buy ticket and go and do the
I tell people, you think therapy is expensive? Try divorce. Divorce is a lot. Separate homes, separate everything. Trying to figure out the impact on the children. It's a lot. How much? And the funny thing is that you don't even have to do therapy that often. But knowing when to immediately recognize something is off and quickly get on top of it, it's critical. So if you say you cannot afford monthly, I don't do monthly. I'll tell you the truth, I don't. But if there's like any kind of weird miscommunication or we're not communicating well, I'm like, hey, babe, I think we need to. And it's like, I think we need to just, talk to, and see how we're doing.
That's my guy there.
So
you know him, very chill guy.
And he's like the best thing since sliced bread.
Oh, Elekwe. Can you say that about your guy? So, this thing you said is true because, and honestly, the African community, we need to wake up to these informations because we are this kind of people, we're always waiting, even when we drive cars. You hear somebody who just say, he said, I was just driving, the thing just... I'm like, no, this thing has been making the noise. It's been telling you, I need help.
Yeah.
I remember I used to have, you remember Honda Baby, is it Baby Boy? Yeah, Honda Baby Boy. I had one of my cars in Nigeria. So, and one day I was just driving and the tire just went boom. And I just came out and said, in the middle of the road. I was like, and they said, what's happened, Oga? I said, the thing just, one man just looked at it. He said, Oga, this thing don't make noise since.
It's not today.
He said, I said, yes, I did hear one sound where they do kaka. He said, nah, the shaft. It don't make noise since. I said, so I think it's something we have to, like you said, you don't have to wait until it gets to that point where the engine has packed up. Now we have to go and look for a new engine to buy and all that.
Yeah, because, I remember the first time that my husband and I did therapy. It was... a couple of years ago, and I just noticed that any small thing would and we don't typically argue. That was the red flag for me. So any small thing, we're like arguing, we're like snapping at each other. I'm like, oh, this is not good because if we continue on this trajectory, it's going to be recipe for disaster. So I said, I think we need to talk to someone. He's like, and he was like, yeah, let's do that. And that one session was a game changer because I found like a Christian therapist, like this woman. Right. She's amazing. She has an amazing way of seeing things from people's point of view. So we walked out of that session not feeling like she took my husband's side or my side. Like everybody's sides were heard, and she was able to provide rationale. I said, do you see why Maria thinks this way? Do you see why Chuka thinks this way? And it was a game changer. I was able to understand why he thinks a certain way, and he was able to understand why I think.
So now this one I'm about to ask now is something that is bothering on a lot of Africans in diaspora, most especially when we moved down here. So, because you hear people say, "Oh, when I came here is when she changed," or when we came here is when he changed. How has mental mental health, or how has it affected marriages?
How has moving
relocation?
Here?
Yes.
So
I'm trying to structure that
so
question because a lot of people, when they move here, it's like their mind is in another space. They really don't know how to work with the system, or they don't even know how to communicate or make their marriages work again, and it becomes an issue of the person changed.
I think it's just people that have very rigid expectations, that their expectations don't adjust as they migrate to a different culture and a different environment. So think about it. I'm just giving you an example of, imagine a couple that lived in Nigeria and they had little children. They probably had one nanny, because it's very easy to flex in Nigeria. You'd have to be rich to have house help. You'd have to be rich to have somebody washing your car. You'd have to, you know what I mean?
Like two back home.
Exactly. So the wife is not feeling that level of stress. She's not the nanny. She's not the cook or the chef. She's not the provider. She's not a lot of those things, right? Now you fast forward coming to America and you have no help. You are still doing whatever work you're doing, maybe even more now. You're working longer hours, and then you still have children. You're still meeting all of those expectations, and the husband is still crossing their leg, like, you need to serve me food, you need to present it to me. And then she gets triggered and angry and stops to do that. She didn't change. It's just that the husband didn't adjust his expectations to say, I need to support my wife more in domestic affairs. You can't say in America, you can't say, I can't wash plate as a man, or I can't go grocery shopping as a man. You know what I mean? Like, you have to support your wife.
You have to.
So I think expectations don't change, even though the situation has changed. They still remain in that rigid, and it goes both ways, both male and female. So I think adjusting your expectations is critical.
Yep. I'm going to ask this final question, and then we talk about your business. So, what role does stigma around mental health play in relationship?
Wow. I mean, it's a lot. There's like I mentioned to you, especially in the African community, there's a lot of shame and stigmatization when it comes to mental health. In the African community, and I keep saying this over and over again, it's easy for you to tell somebody I have high blood pressure or diabetes than for you to tell somebody I am struggling with depression or there's a family history of schizophrenia. Somebody ran mad in my family.
They will run away and leave you.
They will run away and leave you.
Even they won't want to. Imagine telling somebody you are dating and you want to marry. You tell the person you have schizophrenia.
It's the end of that relationship.
So how do we do this thing?
I think it's education and awareness, because you don't know what you don't know, right? If information is power, if I have information about something, I'm going to be less afraid of it because I know what it is and I know that it can be treated. I know that with therapy and I know with the right treatment modalities, this person can be stable.
Because, doctor, honestly, if somebody comes to me, let's say my wife now, when we wanted to date, and she tells me, maybe when we went out on a date and she tells me, I just want to tell you something.
I'm sorry. Okay, keep going.
You'll say, baby, I just want to tell you something. I don't know how to say this. I have, I'm actually dealing with, what do you call it again? Schizophrenia. Doctor, honestly, I will first of all look at her and say, what does it mean? You know when you know the meaning of something, yes. But you're asking the person.
What does it mean?
So what does it? You say, sometimes I get in my head, they explain it. That's see, I won't lie to you.
And I understand that because it's a lifelong condition. So you need to know what
you are making it worse. You are saying it's a lifelong
It is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna mislead our audience.
Okay.
It is
just joking.
It is a chronic condition, right? That doesn't mean that people cannot be stable with medications. Now, imagine you were 25. Like in the case of my husband and I was 23 and he was 27 when we got married.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So some of these disorders show up in your early, say, as a teenager or early adult or young adult, say like 25. And he got married to me at 23. And then I started experiencing symptoms at 25. Does that mean the marriage is over?
I mean,
like,
it's not over, but it's just that...
I understand if you knew before you got married, you can make that decision. I'm talking about people who are already in marriage now. Like if you're already in a marriage with somebody.
Yes.
How do you navigate that?
Yes, how do you go through that?
You just have to help that person seek help together. Now, the dangerous part is the person doesn't think there's anything wrong with them.
So, bam.
Or that they don't want to seek help.
Yeah.
That one becomes a serious matter then. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Even with receiving treatments and everything, there's going to be, ups and, up days and down days.
It's like one of the very famous rapper. I don't want to mention his name.
Yeah.
I think it's just recently he admitted that
But he knew he kind of had it. He knew he had it.
But he was
in denial.
He was in denial. I mean, the damage is done. So, you're saying it can be managed.
Absolutely.
And also, information and education can help remove the stigma.
Yeah. So a lot of my patients that I actually treat have bipolar, and it's night and day when you put these people on the right medications. They are stable. They can hold a job. They can hold it, be in a relationship. They can, as long as they're not doing any kind of drugs, alcohol, and they're exercising and they're sleeping well and they're managing their stress levels and taking their medications and doing therapy. They're like a regular person. I'm telling you, all the people doing, all the people in the grocery store bagging your groceries, they're not okay.
What?
They're duct tape with medication and therapy. That's what's holding them.
Wow.
Seriously, but they're stable. So.
What if some people will tell you, I don't want to be on, because I'm scared, I don't want to be hooked on these medications. For example, maybe the husband or the wife will say, oh yeah, I want to do therapy, or I want to see a therapist, I want to get help, but I don't want to be on this medication.
So I would say to you, it depends on the diagnosis. I'm not even going to lie to you. There are certain diagnoses or disorders that you have to be on medication. And again, also depends on the symptom severity. Like if somebody is like a bipolar patient that is having a manic episode.
Right.
You see that rapper you're talking about? You see sometimes how he goes.
Yeah, he goes.
Exactly. That is a manic episode. Like it's almost psychotic. You have to be on medication to stabilize you, to bring that person down to a stable level. Or if somebody is so depressed, because the thing about bipolar is like two extremes, like high highs and low lows. Sometimes they get depressed when they're suicidal, right? So we're trying to bring them here to a stable level instead of this. So you need medication to bring them here. If they're like this, you need medication, bring them up here to the normal level. They have to be on medication, depending on the symptom severity.
Yeah, and there are some, they don't need medications, they just need to...
Yeah, like if somebody is mildly depressed, so they lost their job, and that's causing them depression, they can do therapy. But you lose your job, you're so depressed, you can't get out of bed, you can't shower, you can't brush your teeth, you're having hopeless thoughts like better off not being here. That's becoming serious. You know what I mean? You may need like antidepressants to kind of help you a little bit. You can come off of it sometimes, depending if you're able to do some lifestyle modifications and, but there are some conditions. It's a case-by-case situation. There are some conditions that you need to be on medication for.
Wow. Oh, man, doctor, thank you very much for all this information. This is...
Absolutely.
Woo, we've had an overload here today. Thank you. So tell us about the business, where can we find you, the office, your handle. What are you doing? What's going on?
So, Vitara Mental Health is a telehealth psychiatric practice that we run. We don't have like a brick and mortar. It's all telehealth. So, at the convenience of your home, you don't need to drive anywhere to see a psychiatric provider. Everything is all telehealth. So, I'm going to provide my website.
We'll have it on the screen.
So, it's www.vitaramentalhealth.com. You can schedule an appointment. I am licensed in DC, Maryland, Virginia, so the DMV area. I can see patients, and I do accept a lot of insurance and also cash pay, like out of pocket.
Okay.
From a social media standpoint, my Instagram handle is Maria Eze _Eze. I provide a lot of mental health information on my page. So it'd be good to follow to get more information. But that's the best way to connect with me on social media.
Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok, but I'm not as... I don't have a a footprint there.
It's only Instagram that you have a
yes,
lot
but
of
I am on
presence.
TikTok. I'm trying to post some of my videos now on TikTok.
Facebook?
No.
Facebook is for the grandmas.
It's for the grandmas. I'm not. I mean, I have an account, but I'm not. I have no presence on there.
I get it.
Yeah.
And is you have anything new coming up? You have any program, any event?
I'm still working. That is still in the weeds. Nothing concrete yet. I'm still fleshing the ideas out. But yeah, I definitely will be communicating that once it's fully developed.
Definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, social media is Instagram is where to find.
Of course,
me.
please go follow her. Get those information. That's where I get small because we need this. Because like she said, she's when I was. Actually reading the accolades in the beginning, she's more focused on the African community because we need it and because we shy away from it and because it's not something we've been taught from the beginning, but this is somebody bringing it to you and informing us, and we need this information. So thank you very much, Dr. Maria Eze, for coming.
Thank you so
much. And we will make sure that we will push this so that a lot of people will start, getting help.
Yes.
Don't worry, you'll be getting calls very soon, very soon. All right, people, this is Free Talk. We have to bring this to an end. As much as I really have more questions to ask, but we need to wrap this up. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Like, share, comment, repost, and ask questions. If you have any questions, most especially about this episode, this topic, you can send in your questions. Our email is on the screen so that we can, get you to the right, place and get you the right answer. Thank you very much. My name still remains CY. God bless you. See you guys. Peace out.